Jungle.
Agendas forward, so how we can enable the contract vehicles we can go out there, because some of the conversation we have with CIOs, even they are frustrated, right? So I was a CIO of one of the agencies, and anytime they have to do something, you have to check out 150 different items to make sure that you're doing everything right. And when you look to focus on those areas, it takes some critical times away from focusing on innovation. And that is something that I've taken as a personal challenge to continue to educate and continue to push these agendas forward. We have had some success lately, and I look forward to be the change agent in that area, hopefully in the next 18 months, and continue to kind of eliminate some of the roadblocks so we can actually bring innovation to the table.
And clearly, I mean, it's not an easy problem to solve, but it's a problem to solve that would benefit everybody. So, yeah. George, last but not the least, I'll come to you. So I think if I recollect my initial days around 2 decades back when I started, in a typical IT industry, there were two roles. You were either a CEO or you were a COO. In the last decade or so, we have seen roles like CIO, Vice Presidents, Digital Transformation Officer. So can you talk about the relevance of these roles in terms of future shaping up for the next generation of technology?
Sure. What we're seeing is that as technology has taken more of a foothold, we've realized that it's not a job that can be done by just a single person. And so we start to spread out and have different folks handling different things, and it's really about specialization, right? So I look at it like, you know, we have a lot of folks at the C-level now at MTX. Last year, we had not even half as many, right? And it's because of the growth. We have more things we have to tackle. One person can't handle all of the different aspects of what needs to get done. And so as we get deeper and deeper into technology and we do more things, and you know, AI starts to make more of a presence, you need people that are going to specialize in that, right? So I see the trend going more towards specialization. And sure, it's always going to be necessary to have skills across multiple different verticals, if you will. But it's kind of like the evolution of humanity. As we've grown, we've had a need to dig deeper and deeper in specific areas to continue to advance society.
And since we have a lot of people who might actually aspire to become a CIO in future, does it pay better than being a CEO or a CSO as well?
No.
We're discouraging people, but I think we get some other day. So ma'am, I'll come back to you. As I mentioned earlier as well, I think, I think I'm very happy to see we have a lot of women in the house, and MTX in general has a very good proportion of women employees. So I think all credit to all of you for maintaining that gender balance. But I really do want to ask you, I mean, since you are in the government sector, what is the government doing to promote women in technology as an initiative? We see a lot of initiatives in Salesforce. I'm sure there are initiatives in other ecosystems as well, but from a government perspective, what is it that the government is doing?
Well, for the government, it needs to bring out a policy. It's a really complicated process, actually. You might have heard about the women bill reservation right, which hasn't taken off yet, you know, after the Congress government brought it in, but none of the governments could do it. So it's in fact a very complicated process. But you know, in the government, a lot of people realize that, I mean, there are a lot of women employees here and there. In the government especially, you know, work gets done by women compared to men.
I think we can all get off stage.
They're very dedicated, I mean, so to work to the family as well, I would say, you know. So officials do realize that, and it's mostly, I would say, I mean, selecting women to certain roles. I mean, again, the department officials do not have that kind of freedom actually is because we are hired through a service commission is what they call, and we are actually posted as per certain rules. It's a very complicated process. But once you enter into a department, the head of the department has the flexibility to choose, particular people to offer certain assignments. They actually, they realize that, as I said, work gets done through women. So certain roles they pick, women to do that. So that's one area. In fact, our IT department, we are actually promoting, working with Girls in Technology and NGO, to see how we can bring in more women in technology. So that's one, project that we are actually associated with that. But within the government, there's no formal, I would say, process, something like that to increase the diversity.
Yeah, and that's something I think which, as a nation, I think we need to change and change soon. So next question, I'll actually open it up to three of you. I am relatively new, so I want to understand from you, if you were to pick your top 3 bets for 2020 in terms of technology, what would they be? Whoever wants to go first. Early.
Sure, I'll go ahead. I think AI, and I think augmented reality / mixed reality is where I'm placing my bets. I won't give you 3 other pieces guys a chance to contribute.
So I would agree with AI. I'm not so sure about augmented reality though. That's an area that I've been keeping an eye on for quite a while, and the practical applications, I'm not quite sure. They're really close. Somebody's got to develop that killer app. As soon as that killer app is developed, maybe MTX will develop that. We'll leave that to our chief strategy officer. I think that will really help propel it. So I do think, and this is speaking a little bit as a public sector practitioner, it's already been adopted by commercial, but the whole adoption of cloud technologies as a whole. If I'm saying that cloud technologies are really going to take off kind of writ large, then I'm about 5 years behind the curve. But I think we're really starting to see it on the public sector side. There are still some change agents that need to get switched over, specifically procurement and legal departments. We've got to really get those blanket policies around security and privacy nailed down. And then I think we're going to see that traction. But I feel like, at least from where I'm sitting, we're on that precipice. So I just don't know if it'll be this year or next year. If it was, speed of government sometimes can be a little bit.
It's more of a question of when, not if. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll put my bet on drone technology. That's something we're working on. Anytime we talk about technology, I always think about is bringing speed to the table, right? And how fast can we do it? If you look at the young generation, we're almost like entitled to speed, right? Think about it, right? Everything we do is readily available, right? Whether you talk about reading certain magazines, you don't have to go to a store, you don't have to go to a library, you can access a lot of content on it, and I think the speed really matters. At MTX, we are looking at a specific industry, is that how do we bring drone technology for the first responders, right? Whether it is natural disasters or there is a fire, I think there is a certain ways to use this technology without putting people at risk, but also really solve it very, very quickly. So that is something that we're going to tackle this summer in the state of Florida during a hurricane season. We're going to really showcase that there is something that's going to not only save lives, but also it's going to keep some of the National Guards safe, but at the same time, we're going to solve some of these unknowns at a very rapid fashion. So that's one of my bet, and that's something we invested heavily in MTX as well.
Yeah, sounds exciting, and I'm looking forward to being a. Thank you.
Gautam, I just want to add.
Yeah, sure, please.
I forgot actually the session for women in government jobs.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big plus as well.
Then somebody will find fault with me. How could you forget this?
No, absolutely. I think, yeah. So that's one of the good things.
Drones does actually Government of Telangana, we're working on a policy on drones, to bring out a policy on drones. So how do we actually help the industry to grow in Hyderabad?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the shipping industry, right, Amazon is working with drone to provide delivery of different things. At the same time, we're looking at a couple of states, state of Colorado and state of Massachusetts. They recently dished out a contract where they built out this specific space for people to come in and then test their activities. I think even India is also looking at these different activities to promote those. You're going to certainly have to work with those federal aviation groups, to make sure that you open up the sky without causing bodily injuries, to make sure that we continue to advance innovations. I'm really excited on that, and people are actually embracing it really faster than we think. And when you talked about there's a lot more, mobile devices, then I would be surprised in about 5 years we have a lot of drone technologies out there, right? So when you look at from autonomy vehicles that are actually flying, and Uber and some of the folks are looking in these areas as well. So when we talk about drone, it could be any flying object, right? That is controlled or automatically with the artificial intelligence. There's a massive industry for that, and I don't think we haven't touched the iceberg of that.
Yeah, the use cases are endless. Since you brought up drones, one of the funny things on a lighter side which I heard was they're planning to use drones at Tinder for sending out chocolates and roses as well. So the future may not be bright, but it's definitely romantic for sure. So I think I'll actually open it up to the audience if anyone wants to ask any questions. This has been completely unscripted. Anybody who wants to ask a question to any of the panelists or to me, Nipa, if you want to ask something, but he's on stage, so he cannot say no right now. That's a golden opportunity. But otherwise, if anyone wants to ask any questions, please raise your hand, and I think we can hand over a mic. Asking about a salary raise, anything else is fine. Any questions we have?
Hi, good evening. This is Vivek from Guest. I'm a sales professional, and congratulations to MTX and Maverick. So I'm excited to learn about your journey with the Salesforce as well as the AI. So my question to Das is, I just want to learn more about your vision 2025. So that is my question.
So I think the question is that you want to learn a little bit more about the Vision 2025.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's a crazy vision, right? So that's the first and foremost. It's something that what we're looking to do is, as we build a business, we must have some sort of target, right? So our target is that while the vision is that we want to grow the company into $1 billion entity, we're not here to do this for the money, right? We are very passionate about the AI technology, the medical industry, and through that process, everyone's going to prosper and build a strong business model through the process. The vision is that when we build a company on the services side and the Salesforce industry, that's going to get us to about $300–400 million in valuations as a company, which is nice. But when talking to Saul, George, and some of the other leaders, we are challenging ourselves to go out there and put a dent on the universe. And we're going to do that with the mechanism of AI technology, the medical industry we're going to disrupt. And hopefully something good will come out of it, that the marginal mass will be empowered to take on these technologies, and through that process can help us really grow into that $1 billion entities. At the end of the day, we talk about that. If you look at the Nobel Foundation, whatever the exit looks like for us, we're going to take that money back and put it back into the community as a philanthropic activities, and to make sure that we can continue to advance some of those causes and continue to leverage the technology that we build in. So that's our vision, is that we just want to have fun building something that is amazing. And we also set the bar really, really high and didn't stop at, can we build a company at $400 million and stop at that? I don't think that would be challenging enough for us. What we really want to do is solve the complex problems for the marginal mass. When I talk about the marginal mass, and you look at 7 out of 10 human beings in this planet do not have access to the right technology, right, do not have access to the right medicine, and we want to be part of that discussion, and we want people to think about as a Maverick AI platform as one of those technology that's going to enable us in that path.
You guys talked about drone technology for the vision, something of a challenge for 2020. I know we've probably all seen in the news where the drones have descended upon Heathrow. My question is, do we think that kind of controlling or managing drones is a technology problem, or is that a process and legal problem?
So that Heathrow incident was actually a boyfriend sending chocolates to his girlfriend. It's a legitimate concern. So.
Yeah, I look at it like we kind of look at some of our consulting projects, right? There's going to be loopholes that people can do things that they really shouldn't do. And at the end of the day, we can't protect against everything, right? So there has to be some policy in place to catch those areas where the technology is not enough or it's not feasible to implement.
So I think there's a combination of carrots and sticks, essentially, that have to be used in a little bit of ways. I mean, obviously having smart regulation around drones and how they're used and things of that nature needs to be applied, although it has to be a bit commonsensical. If it gets too far, it gets too constrictive, it's just going to get ignored. The other is also making sure that we are encouraging the right behaviors. So developing the products and services that are meant to do good. People will still try to do evil with them, but at the same time, if you look at it through the lens of how can you make this good for the economy, good for the people that are using it, good for the technology and how it's being used, then you naturally will have people gravitate towards that. But I do think it's got to be a bit of a balance of both.
Clearly, I mean, it's not a solve again. And drones, I mean, they are the future, but nobody knows how the legal aspects would come into play in future as well.
Yeah, I was reading that news a couple of days ago. I actually like when things like that happens, because that's going to drive somebody else to come up with a solution to actually tackle that. I think so. Some incidents are not that bad. I think that's going to always push us to think differently and come up with different innovative ways to address this. Someone's going to have to address it, right? So if these things happen without causing bodily harm, and that's a fantastic way to kind of be aware of the use cases and then tackle it. If you look at that 20 years ago when robots were very prominent, there was a golden rule, right? That the robotic machine should not cause bodily harm, right? But still there were a lot of animosity, anxiousness from folks not to embrace that. I think we're going to see the same exact challenge, whether it's AI technology with the privacy data issue, drone technology with possible bodily harm that could cause. I would say that it's always good to know some of those unknowns up front, so we can always have young folks that can come up with a specific way to solve it. So I'm not too concerned about it. I actually like to see some of these things happen, so we actually have this conversation.
I'm tempted to ask, were you transiting through Heathrow a couple of days back when this happened?
That's not my preferred route.
That whenever you see a solution and you don't see a problem, create a problem for it so that you can apply the solution. So, that's all. Anything you want to add?
No, just that Das has a drone in his carry-on.
All right, I think time. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you, ma'am, for coming and enlightening us. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right, so we have a request for group picture for MTX. So can we please quickly gather in front of our stage?
Picture for their own. Okay. Would you like to take the seat, or sir? Because the MTX logo is visible. Now that both the logos are visible, okay? Yeah, she's not visible. Okay, could I have a trial of that? 1, 2, 3. Everybody say that. 1, 2, 3.
Never settle.
There's no synchrony, okay? Okay, let's give an